When you drink water, remember its source. Welcome to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Today is July 14th, 2021. This is episode number 150 of the show, and we will be talking about gratitude. I felt compelled to record this morning, did not prepare for it yesterday, nor did I prepare any show notes this morning. So I figured I would do somewhat of a free talk episode based on one of the daily devotional books that I read. And today, I decided to go with 365 Tao. So let's get right into it. If your spiritual understanding is sound, then you will constantly be aware of the subtleties of life. If you fritter away your concentration on minor entertainment and trivial distractions, then you will never attain a profound level of awareness. It is not the grand sweeping religious celebrations and heroic moments in life that are only important spiritual occasions. Every ordinary moment, every little detail should be a celebration of your personal understanding. Your smallest act should be permeated with reverence. One of our most basic acts is drinking water. Without it, we could not sustain ourselves. Water cleanses us, cools us, and is an essential component of most of our biological processes. But when we drink it, are we aware of what it does? Do we think of its source and all the efforts that make it possible for us to have this simple glass of water? Being spiritual means not taking things for granted. Quite the opposite. You remember how everything that comes to you fits into an overall scheme. You acknowledge the precious quality of everyday things, and you maintain a gratitude for both the good and the bad in your life. And that's what we are going to talk about on the morning commute on this 195th day of the year. That's right. We're 195 days into the year. It's July 14th. We are several weeks into the third quarter of 2021. So however you want to frame it, okay, think about where we are. Think about where you are right here and right now. And try to be grateful for it. I'm pretty sure, unless there are some extreme circumstances in life right now, that if we all take a moment to reflect on our lives, that there's far more good than there is bad. And I certainly don't say that in an effort to dismiss the bad in your life, because we have to acknowledge that, but we also need to take time to reflect on and express gratitude in life. I was journaling this morning, and I suppose the fact that I am in good spirits today is part of the reason why I felt compelled to get an episode out there and record. And what's interesting is all I read this morning on my couch when I was going through the various devotionals, one of which is The Rudder of the Day by Dan Miller, second of which is Daily Strength, a daily devotional that was given to me by our associate pastor, Karen, at our church. And thirdly, a devotional that I've been reading for well over a decade called 365 Tao. It is likely the most used, worn out, and dog-eared book that is in my possession because I reference it so frequently. If your spiritual understanding is sound, then you will constantly be aware of the subtleties of life. If you fritter away your concentration on minor entertainment and trivial distractions, then you will never attain a profound level of awareness. Now, I don't know about you, but a profound level of awareness to me sounds very appealing. And I'm not an old man by any means. I'm 43 years old. But I'm learning that when I surround myself, check that. I'm learning that it becomes easy to absorb the energy, if you will, and the disposition of those who you are constantly surrounded by. And sometimes that is not the best or the most optimal thing to have going for us, because sometimes we are surrounded by things that aren't necessarily all that positive. All right? Which is all the more reason, in my humble opinion, that we take the time and remember that when we drink water, to remember its source. This idea of thinking about everything, remembering its source, just the simple act of mindfulness in our daily thoughts, actions, and behaviors. While simple, it's not easy. It's easy to get caught up in trivial distractions. It's easy to fritter away our concentration on minor entertainment. It's easy to engage in all of that surrounds us and prevents us from attaining this profound level of awareness. And sometimes I think about my own spiritual path. I mean, we read, if our spiritual understanding is sound, then you will constantly be aware of the subtleties of life. If you fritter away your concentration on minor entertainment and trivial distractions, then you will never attain a profound level of awareness. I think what is written here by Dengming Dao transcends any and all religion. But most religions seem to encompass or embrace many aspects of one's spiritual understanding, or maybe I should say it helps grow one's spiritual understanding because of the nature of religion and ritual. And in my opinion, these things are important because, well, they are important in addition to the community aspect and everything else that goes along with a healthy church. And I talk with a lot of people who are actively looking for a church home. And I was one of them for quite some time. And like anything else in life, when you put in the work, eventually you will experience the results. And oftentimes this takes time. For me, it's taken well over 10 years. Let's say 20. Because by the time I actually felt drawn to go back to church in some way, shape, or form after my discovery of Taoism and realizing that it wasn't simply one or the other, that it could be a healthy combination of both, I began to experience things at different churches that drove me away from the church, similar to what drove me away from the church in the first place. So if you're out there feeling like you're struggling on your own spiritual path, trying to find your way, whether it includes a formal religious practice or not, I would encourage you to stay hopeful. Continue putting in the work. It will pay off someday, and it may take some time. And that's not always the easiest thing to hear, but one common thread that we have in life is our shared experience, and that's one thing that draws us together, and it's a common thread that we have with a lot of our experiences. And my experiences are my own, but there's a lot of similarities that I hope you can draw from what it is that I share. And hopefully there's some value in that as you go through your life, because the fact of the matter is, this is my girlfriend that helped me understand this. The fact of the matter is, we're all just walking each other home. So remember, it's not the grand, sweeping religious celebrations and heroic moments in life that are the only important spiritual occasions. Every ordinary moment, every little detail should be a celebration of your personal understanding. Your smallest act should be permeated with reverence. This, my friends, is what it's all about. Your own spiritual path does not need to include a formal religion or a formal religious path. It's part of my spiritual path, and it's part of something that I am growing more comfortable talking about and sharing. And I hope that you are comfortable talking and sharing about your own spiritual path in whatever way, shape, or form it's taking in your life. And you can share that with us over at t.me/allaroundgrowth. That is accessible on your desktop browser, and that will take you to the Telegram app, which you can put on your computer or on your phone, whatever you want to do if you don't want to have it on both. But It's a great way to engage with all kinds of people, all kinds of groups. It's, as far as I'm concerned, new media, new social media, and it's simply a great way to engage with people, share files, share resources, share information, and information like where we are all at with our spiritual path. And finally, I'd like to read that last paragraph one more time in conclusion. Being spiritual means not taking things for granted. Quite the opposite. You remember how everything that comes to you fits into an overall scheme. You acknowledge the precious quality of everyday things. And you maintain a gratitude for both the good and the bad in your life. For, I guess it is the bad that helps us really learn the lessons that allow us to fully appreciate the good. That's it for today's show, guys. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tune in and share in this day with me. I would really encourage you to check out the Telegram group like I previously mentioned, t.me/allaroundgrowth. And if you like what you hear, just check out the show notes and you will find links to rate and review the podcast. If you'd like to rate it on your podcast player of choice, that's great. Better yet, share it with your friends, family, share it on social media. Anything helps. I'm a terrible self-promoter. I just enjoy doing this and sharing in this moment and sharing these various messages that come into my life with you. And I hope that you enjoy it as well. I hope you have a great day. And remember to have gratitude for both the good and the bad in this life. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.